So in this season of debacles, last week when we did our pod, we had some questions afterwards, and one of them was about how we'd change our favorite sitcom or how we change an ending to a sitcom or a movie. And Cardone picked an orgy for Three's Company. So we thought we'd do the Three's Company
Very
theme song to this week. and things didn't get better this week. So hopefully we got some questions that are going to take us down another path. So we are the three Angry Giant fans and a Jet fan. It's your host, Scott, Giant Mike, Cardone, and Angry Jets fan Novak. And just another lost weekend. More shenanigans. We'll get into the pick six by Rodgers to Leo Williams. We'll talk about the Giants just on Thanksgiving actually putting up a spirited fight, but of course losing and not getting a stop when they can. So it's one of those things where we're embracing the tank, boys.
Got no choice.
Yeah,
I mean, embrace it or die. That's pretty much where we are, right?
Another week, show up, lose, go home. That was it.
Yep.
And this was just the Drew Lock version, I guess, of for the Giants this week, and the Jets.
It's just
Met Death. We can't escape the grips of Met Death. That's all you can say. That stadium, grotesque.
There's nothing left to say about the Jets or the Giants. What do we have left to say?
No.
Like Mike and I were talking, I got nothing. They stink.
Yeah.
They're hard to watch. They find incredibly creative ways to lose. The Giants are the same way. No one cares. There's apathy everywhere. The stadium sucks. The team sucks. They're together at the bottom of every joke that you see right now. And as I texted you guys, I'm like, I love having you as my friends at the bottom of the barrel. It's great to have you with me.
Yeah,
that's all we got.
We're down here. That's for sure. And about the Giants, I don't know if this is a knock or a compliment on Daniel Jones, but I don't even know if it matters. If it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's almost like you could put any guy back there. There was virtually no difference to me between Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and Drew Lock. It all looked like the same game. The only difference, I guess, is that the feeling of hopelessness is much higher when it's not Jones. Like you don't really think there's any way you're going to win those games without Jones there, which is just funny. I also like the media's take now that Jones is good now that he's on the Vikings. They're like, it's a good deal for the Vikings. I mean, 2 weeks ago, this guy literally, they were calling there was 10 backups better than Daniel Jones 3 weeks ago. Now he's a solid player, perfect pickup for the Vikings in case Darnold goes down. I mean, just a good,
solid veteran. What a great addition.
Yeah,
savvy veteran. Yeah,
been into the playoffs, won playoff games. I mean, just a great job by the Vikings here.
He pushed aside too. He pushed aside Cardone's favorite guy, Nick Mullins.
I did.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Air Supply's lead singer. Yeah. We've seen what he could do. Demolished us at Met Death a couple years ago.
He did. You also all of a sudden Kevin O'Connell is like the greatest quarterback whisperer of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He said, he had 2 decent seasons and he hasn't won a playoff game that I can think of. And all of a sudden, he's going to go learn from Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. I mean,
Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold. Yeah.
He's going to learn from Sam Darnold. Like we were saying, like those two probably get together in the quarterback room and like, aren't we glad we got the fuck out of New York or what? They're probably fist bumping each other.
Yeah. There must be a lot of high, like every day when they see each other, they like point at each other. Woo-hoo! High five. We got out of that mess and we're on a playoff team.
It's like that movie Escape from Alcatraz. They literally got out of like a fucking a maximum security prison.
Swim across the bay together. Yeah. I did hear some criticism of Jones this week, or I guess last week when he said that he wanted to go to a playoff contender. And a lot of people were I shouldn't say a lot of people. I read one article that kind of had the tact of, who's this guy to dictate where he goes?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what do you want him to do? Like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sign with the Jets. for the rest. I mean, it's on a 1-year deal. You probably won't be going back to the team that you're going to get picked up by anyways. What should it, go play for Cleveland for the rest of this year? I mean, why? Why would you do? Of course, if you can get a cheapy Super Bowl ring or a cool playoff run, you go do that.
The Raiders.
Yeah.
So before we get into everything, let me give a shout out. And this one I always liked the pronunciation of it and the spelling. So hello, Schenectady, New York. It's population 67,047, close to Albany, and it's derived from the Mohawk word Skanetati, which means beyond the pines. It has the zip code 12345. And that's where a large GE plant is located. And it was the home of, I'm going to let you guys answer who this was, Ann B. Davis. Who is Ann B. Davis?
Oh, that's
Maud.
That's
Brady Bunch.
No, that's Alice.
Oh,
Alice
Alice.
from the Brady Bunch,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's Alice.
So Maud was B. Arthur.
And it
also-
also was it was the home of one of Cardone's favorites too, Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh, love Vonnegut.
And furthermore, Vonnegut.
And another thing, Vonnegut, I'm stopping payment on the check. I love how, what's her name, Sally Kellerman, the instructor, says, I don't know who wrote that paper. I know it wasn't you, but whoever did doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut wrote it. By the way, another thing about the zip code there, 12345, that is the luggage combination of I think it's Lord Helmet in Spaceballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or no, it was Mel Brooks's character.
Yeah, it was the boss, right? It was
Yeah.
the head of the helmets.
They're going through the they need the secret code 1 1 2 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. That's amazing.
That's how you know this show's unscripted. How do we get from Schenectady to Spaceballs? You never would think that would happen.
Yeah.
No, I know. That was
The
the
5 degrees.
Go look up that scene. That was the combination for something. I don't know I don't remember what it was in Spaceballs, but it was.
Then they say to him, "That's a combination some idiot would have on his luggage."
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
you can tell we barely talk football these days. So
No.
the Giants Cowboys played, and to add insult to actual injury, it was an injury flurry. So Dexter's out for the year. We had injuries to several different players. Theo Johnson's on IR; he's out for the rest of the year. We made a career day for the running back. So Dowdell had his career day. We can't stop the run. Locke ran for 2 touchdowns, but the guy can't pass the ball. So it's a comedy of errors. And I actually watched that game thinking to myself, I bet on Dallas. That's the way I'm going to get through the rest of this year. I'm going to root against the Giants by betting on the other team.
Why not?
And I bet you I'll make money.
I think Oh yeah. No, it's just a comedy. It's not even. We're not even in the league. I think some of my favorite when we get in on a thread, a text thread, mojo, going during the middle of the game. I think Mike, you may. I don't know if you remember this one. I love this one. We always talk about when our guy throws the batted ball, the ball never harmlessly falls to the turf. So of course, Drew Lock throws the batted ball. It must go the other way for a pick 6. And I think you just calmly said ball doesn't fall to the turf.
Yeah. Yeah, we had one against them later that was in the air for like a half hour.
Right.
It just comes down and just hits the ground. It just rolls away.
Or you have
no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Or you have some linebacker who for some reason can't come down with the ball, hits him right in the chest, and he fumbling the ball to the ground. It's amazing. Lock again on a quarterback. I don't know if it was a quarterback keeper. Maybe he was escaping a sack. Lays one on the turf. Isn't it hilarious that whoever comes in has to turn the ball over at least a couple times? He did each one. He did a variety of mix there. He fumbled one. He threw the interception. It's just awesome. Giants football. There's nothing more to say. First of all, that game feels like it was a month ago.
It really does.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time recalling it.
Yeah, I don't even know what the date it is. Right, what date it is right now? But yeah, trying to remember that game. It's just a disaster.
It has to go down as the most uninteresting 4 o'clock Thanksgiving Day game in the last 30 years.
Easily.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Compelling.
I mean, there was a couple of years where the Cowboys were really bad. I think that like Ryan Leaf played in Thanksgiving Day game when they were really bad one year or something. But that's always usually a pretty decent game. It was no one gave a crap. I mean, if you're a Giant fan or a Cowboy fan, maybe, but Cooper Rush and Drew Lock,
no.
Yeah.
Gross.
I do think the Giants played Dallas at 4:30 on Thanksgiving like 2 or 3 years ago and got absolutely annihilated by them. That might have been
then, right.
Yeah, I mean that was probably more interesting. But
where was the Salvation Army bucket this last week?
I saw a replay of it being there, but I never saw anyone actually hop out of it. So, and there was not a named play, but there was a signature play that touchdown that was deflected by Locke. I think it happened too early in the game. Had it happened with the Giants having a lead, it would have been a named play.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought maybe the Salvation Army was like, Giants Cowboys. Let's send the bucket somewhere else.
Yeah, the bucket could serve someone better somewhere else.
Right.
We'll send it to a college game in a day. We don't need to send it there.
So meanwhile, in Met Death, we had the Seahawks coming into town to play the Jets. Jets, they were winning in this game. They were driving down. They also had some injury flurries. Sauce is out. They had a couple other injuries. But an improbable down at the goal line pick by Rodgers by Leo Williams, who ended up taking it all the way back for a touchdown. That rumbling, bumbling, stumbling was definitely in play with Williams. It was probably the highlight of the week. I kept seeing played all week.
Yeah, they're up 21-7, about to go up 28-7. I was thinking, if we finally get an easy win, how great is this? And Rodgers completely overthrows Garrett Wilson, the play before the Leo Williams pick. He was wide open. This is why we get this guy to make that throw, and he can't make that throw. Yeah. And of course, it gets picked off by the guy we drafted. And he runs 99 yards for a touchdown, a big fat offensive lineman who we can't catch up to. Come on. Well, every week it's something.
The reason why you can't catch up to him, though, Novak, is because if you noticed, I rewound it a couple times. After the pick, the dick just stands there and watches it. Like, you think he's going to run down the field and try to track this guy down?
Of course not.
I'm watching all these Jets now take all these offensive linemen, run the other way, and try to catch. And there's the dick just standing there, like the dick that he is. By the way, Novak, you had a 92.7% win probability at that point. I think right before that. For those of you keeping score at home, yes, it was when it was 21-7, 3rd and 3 at Seattle's 31. I'm picking out the exact moment that you had a 92.7% chance. I would take that, right? 92, almost, 90. Yeah.
AWS.
Even I was thinking this game's over.
Yeah.
And you see that this was my new favorite stat. Every week, Jets or Giants comes up with an all-time stat.
Yes.
The first time a team has lost to two quarterbacks they drafted since 1998.
That's awesome.
In a season. Sam Darnold and Geno Smith. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
I love these statistics where they, the one, yeah.
But you know what the sad thing is? Do you feel like they trot these stats out for the Colts or the Jaguars or the Raiders? It's only the Jets or the Giants that they gotta trot these stats out, right?
No, yeah. I heard recently. I forget what game it was. But Al Michaels is still talking about the fucking Doug Peterson game where he pulled out Hurts and it kept the Giants from making the playoffs that year where everyone was 6-10. I'm like, Michaels, that was like fucking 4 years ago. Why he's still bringing it up?
Michaels, I think Michaels might have had money on that game. Yeah. Michaels had money on that game.
God, there's no question. He brought it up again. I'm like, Michael, what are you doing, dude? Jeez.
I think the highlight for me of the weekend was Shabuzi. By the way, I had no idea who Shabuzi was before Thanksgiving, and I'm a big fan now. I thought he was awesome, and I'm a Shabuzi guy.
How can you not be?
You're promoting more crap from the NFL, though. I like Shabuzi. I hate the way I kept saying this to Devin Tier was over at my house for Thanksgiving, and I kept saying to myself, I just want to watch the game. I don't want to watch, the halftime goes on for like 20 minutes because it's a prime time holiday game. Just put the goddamn game back on. 15 minutes in the locker room. That's it.
I thought they did it all right. Shabuzi, it was fast. It went by fast. Maybe that's because it was so good. I was like, oh, I'd like for this to keep going.
Shabuzi was the Bears-Lions game, right?
Was he the Bears-Lions game? I don't remember.
We had some chick that I'd never heard of before.
Look how we have nothing to talk about. This is there are 5 weeks left. We should be like intense, like just rabid right now, fervor, and like we have nothing. Like we're not even in the fucking league.
That was so bad.
We still have 5 games.
Talking about Lady Wilson and Shabuzi, literally.
I mean, look at this.
Not ironically either.
Like I have a blank. Look at my. I have a blank sheet of paper here. There's nothing to talk about. I just showed my blank to the viewers on YouTube. What's there to break down? Oh man, if Locke had just found Darius Slayton on that one drive, and there's nothing to talk about.
I just got off of a 3-hour flight, and I could have taken that time to write notes and think about it. And I stared at the seat in front of me like putty on that flight. Are you just? I have
worlds colliding. I'm actually dressed in work clothes. I'm sitting here for those that can see me because I can't see myself on the video right now because I'm in a hotel room.
It's a great freeze, by the way.
It is a great awesome freeze. Yeah. I hope it records exactly that way.
Well, the funny thing is Novak's frozen on my screen, so it's like you guys are fine. Novak's frozen.
Scott does not look like he's rooting for a 2-10 team. He looks like he's having the time of his life over there.
I know. It's like the best day ever. I know.
Right?
Look at him.
2-10.
He is. I want to be that happy.
So, speaking of 2-10, this week Giants have the Saints, and do we keep losing? Do we want to?
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing to root for here other than losses, is there, guys?
Losses. I want losses.
No, there's. Hey, just to back up a little bit, do you guys remember the LT game on Thanksgiving? You know that game we're talking about, right? Where LT went nuts. So, do you guys also know that is the last time we've won on Thanksgiving?
I did know that.
I did not
really
know that.
Yeah. That was 1982, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that we've played a bunch. We've only played, I think, 4 since then. But yeah, that was.
Yeah.
It's the last time the Giants treated their fans to a Thanksgiving. And most of them have been blowouts. Most of them have been 2 scores. I was wrong about the last Giants-Cowboys game a couple of years ago. That was actually an 8-point game. The same, almost identical score, 28-20, 27-20.
You know what I do think, though? I do think that this game against the Saints is probably the best chance for the Giants to win if they're going to win by the rest of the year. Other than this game, maybe the Colts, but the Colts somehow find ways to win. They're not a bad team.
Oh, they're not. This might be the Giants' only chance, and I don't even think it's a very good one. They're just too bad. They just do too many dumb things.
Yeah, they are that bad. And the games at Met Death where you cannot see them.
Forget it.
I mean, I want this team to go 0-9 at home. I really do. 0-9, which that would set a record, right? Because especially since the 17-game schedule, the whole thing. I don't think there's been an 0-9 team at home, right? That's only been going for 3. What is this? What year is this in the 17-game schedule? Year 3, 4? I don't know.
Probably 3.
I think it's year 3.
I think it's 3. Yeah. I don't know what Scott. I mean, the Saints game. It's not much to break down. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, what in the world are we going to talk about with the Saint game? I don't know.
And without having Dexter Lawrence in there, Kamara might run for 5 touchdowns, 172 yards.
No, absolutely.
We can't. By the way, if only we could have seen the Dexter Lawrence injury coming, we might have. I mean, this is exactly what we talked about last week, where your big name players, if the Giants are in a tight playoff race right now, Dexter Lawrence finds a way to get out there probably. I mean, but now, not now. Why? Screw it.
I'll tell you how bad it is.
It was pretty bad though. It was a dislocated elbow, and
it
looked pretty bad when he did it.
Did you guys hear the Brian Baldinger breakdown of Evan Neal's play?
I did not.
You got to find it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He said all he kept screaming about, and he was screaming like we do sometimes, that Evan Neal was on the ground on every single play. The guy was on the ground more than he was upright.
That's awesome.
He's got to be one of the worst he's got to be the biggest offensive line bust since Mandarich.
Yeah, I mean, he might be.
Right?
He might be. Yeah. That was just such a no-brainer.
It was, though. You can't blame the Giants for taking him. I mean,
I was thrilled when they picked
rated him high.
Yeah,
but he's awful.
Yeah, there's no words to describe how bad this guy is. There's not.
So on the
I'll have to
flip
go look at that
side,
one, Novak.
we got a AFC barn burner. AFC's barn burner. Jets-Dolphins. Do the Dolphins have anything to play for now that the Bills have wrapped everything up? Can they make the wild card still?
Yeah. They're still in it. I think they're 5-7 or something. They're still alive.
Yeah.
I think there's something to play for them, and Tua's back. They got a good offense. I don't really care who wins. I mean, I kind of want the Dolphins to win just because I need the Jets to tank like you guys are tanking. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's going to be another beatdown. Probably Rodgers will find a way to blame somebody. Did you see what he said today or the other day about the Jets? You know, is it all your fault? And he's like, well, some of it's my fault, but there are 11 players on the field. Like, he is such a dick. He finds a way, like, he can still find a way to blame others, even though he comes off sort of like he's blaming himself. He's just, and now he's got this dumbass documentary coming out in 2 weeks. I mean, it's every week there's a new laughing stock thing with the Jets, and so now it's Rodgers coming out with this ayahuasca, throwing up with tattoos and whatever the hell, he's a garb all over him, and he's some sort of puddle on the ground, getting sick. Like, God, what a dick.
Remember when the Jets and Dolphins games were fun? That would be like going to be the fun game of the week. I've got to watch that one.
Yeah, they were up until the Patriots. That was, growing up, that's the team I hated the most. Now I just don't care. The Dolphins, it's a garbage organization. No one cares about the Dolphins. The worst fan base in the NFL, in my opinion. Yeah. And then the Jets, just awful. It's what a waste.
Yeah, looking at the standings, AFC, and I kind of was thinking this even before this past weekend. I feel like the 7 playoff teams are set. I mean, Indy is sitting there 2 games back of Denver, and I guess now Baltimore since with their loss. But it does it not feel like that, guys? I mean, there's Cincinnati's done, Miami 5-6, they're done.
They're done.
As far as playoffs, no, you got the 7 teams. It's just now a matter of those last couple seeds, I think.
Yeah,
there's a month left.
A month.
We got to sit through this. We know who the playoff teams are.
And if I had to look, to me, Houston, the Clippers, and Denver are just like fraudulent teams. So really, it's I mean, that knocks down. Now you're down to 4 teams. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs a fraud, so they're gone. It's literally Kansas City, Buffalo, and an overachieving Pittsburgh team. That's the AFC already right now. That's it. And with 5 weeks left.
Yeah, and it is now flipped. Because for the last 5-7 years, it's been the AFC is better than the NFC. It's 100% flipped now this year. And it's going to go back to the NFC now. It's the better conference. Sorry, guys, but it is.
Yeah, for this year it has been.
Depends on how much the league wants the Chiefs to win, which we might get to in a little bit here. But
I think we're going to, because we need to.
So I'm going to turn it over to Mike for predictions.
Predictions. All right, man. That came up fast on me. I'm always surprised. Are we doing predictions? All right. So everyone went 2-0 last week except for me. I took my flyer on the Jets, which looked good real good for a minute there. I thought I'd stolen one back, but alas, not to be. So Novak is got a 2-game lead at 16-8. Is that right? Yeah, 16-8. Over Cardone and Cost, who are each 14-10, and then I'm 13-11 at this point. So we'll start with Novak. Novak, any game you want.
I'll start with the Jets. So I said after they lost to I think it was the Broncos, I wouldn't pick the Jets again. But guys, I'm going rogue. I think the Jets are actually going to play well. They played well against Seattle for the most part. I don't see the Jets going 2-15. They've got to win another game just for the sheer fact that they've got to win 3 games. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take the Jets in a flyer. I'm probably wrong. I don't care. I got a 2-game lead. I can afford to lose one. I say the Jets win this game 24-16.
I thought the Jets already had 3 wins.
Oh, sorry, 4 wins. 4 wins.
4
My
wins.
bad.
Okay.
My bad.
They do. Yeah.
I actually was going to pick either the Jets or the Giants. I was going to go 1-1 just to make it interesting. So, but I just I watched, and I'll tell you at Pet Peeves, I watched that whole Saints game. They're awful. They are a tough watch as well. This is going to be the worst game of the week. I think the Saints and the Giants. I think the Giants are in full-on tank mode. I don't think they want to win. They don't have Lawrence. They don't have Thomas. I Drew Lock. I mean, I don't know who's going to play. Does it matter? Who cares? So I'm going to take the Saints here, 12-9.
Oh, I love 12-9. What was your score? What was your score of the Jets game, Novak?
24-16 Jets.
24-16. All right. Scotty Cost is next.
So I'm torn on the Jets Dolphins game because the Dolphins they're a team that can look terrible at times, and we haven't seen the offense explode like they normally have this year. They just look disjointed. But that being said, the Jets had a really good opportunity to beat the Seahawks last week, and they blew it. And the Seahawks are not a great team either. And I just keep thinking to myself, the Jets are just fine. They're like the Giants of years past, where they just are finding ways to lose right now. Not so much that the opponent's finding ways to win. And just based on that, I'm going to go Dolphins, and I'm going to take them in a ridiculously bad game in 17-16. On the Giants side, the more I think of Dexter Lawrence being out, when Dexter Lawrence is not in there, we just look like crap, especially against the run. And we have let so many running backs just gash and tear us apart. And now we got Alvin Kamara there. I don't know if Taysom Hill will play. I think he got injured, but
he's out for the year.
Oh, he's out for the year. All right. So he's definitely not playing, which means Derek Carr will do a 20-yard gain for some reason when guy can't hardly scramble. This is going to be probably, like Novak said, a boring game. I don't think it's going to be low scoring, but I don't think it's going to be an exciting game to watch. And the Giants lose 27-13.
Cardone.
Let's see. I'll start with the Giant game. This Giant team they're just sawdust right now. They have no heart, no soul, no life. This is the most unwatchable game of the week. Without breaking it down, I mean, without Sexy Dexy in there, we're not going to be able to stop anything. I see it being a low-scoring game. I have both teams in the teens here. I just kind of wrote down this score just before we came on without giving it a whole lot of thought. New Orleans takes it 19-13. Not much, not a lot of points. So New Orleans takes that one, and Jets-Dolphins. Yeah, I was teetering with this. I have to say I was a little persuaded by Novak's pick, where I need to go the opposite actually. So if I being a couple games behind Novak, I think just for the fun of it, I got to go the opposite. I was thinking about taking the Jets 2 on a flyer, but I think the Jets are finding ways to lose too, and I'm so anti-Dick that I just to watch him walk off the field a loser as much as possible for the rest of the season. I love it. I love seeing that look on his face of losing, which is great. So just for the fact of seeing the Jets finding ways to lose, give me Miami down there in the sun, 26-20.
26-20. Gotcha.
Yeah. By the way, we might need clerical correction here. You, Mike, you said in the beginning you were just a game behind Cardone and I, but you went 1-1 last week, right?
I went 1-1.
So should you not drop 2 games? No,
you're right. I was reading the week before's stats. Yeah, let me hang on. It is Novak 18-8, not 16-8. You guys are 16-10, and I'm 14-12. I knew that wasn't right. It wasn't in the right place in my book, but it was the only one I could see.
I caught you unprepared with the predictions.
You did, because we haven't done this every week apparently, so I have no idea what's coming. So I'll start with the Giants game. You guys remember? I don't know if it seems like forever ago, but the Saints came out and blew out the Panthers 47-10. And next week they pretty much did the exact same thing to the Cowboys, 44-19. And since then, it's kind of the wheels have come off for them a little bit. But my prediction here is that we're going to see Week 2 New Orleans on Sunday. They are going to come out. They're going to gash us in the run. As Scott said, Derek Carr is going to find open receivers, and this is going to be a laugher at MetDeath. This is the kind where, like, with 8 minutes left in the game, all the Saints fans there are down on the wall. They come down and they're like, you can hear them going, who dey or who dat or whoever, whatever they say. I don't know what the hell they say. So I'm going to pick in a very similar score to the Dallas and Carolina games. I'm going to say Saints 42 and the Giants 9.
I thought you wanted to say Dick. You like to say Dick on those.
Yeah, I do. I thought I've overused that a little bit. I replaced Dick with 9.
Yeah, I'm looking at my score now. I'm like, why do I have such a low-scoring game? You're right. I mean, after what Tampa just did to the Giants, whatever. I'll keep it, but yeah.
I'll keep it. And then the Jets, I mean, everything says I should pick the Jets here because I need to gain on Scott and Cardone. And but like I don't see it. I don't know. I do think the game is going to be very close. But man, there's got to be a week this turns, right? I just changed my pick in my head while I was talking to myself right there. I'm going to pick the Jets because this same thing can't keep happening. It can't keep happening where they like dominate the game like they have 2 weeks in a row and then just collapse at the end. I don't see it happening again in a game that I think is going to be close anyway. So I'm going to pick the Jets, and I'm going to say the Jets win this one 24-20.
All right.
So around the league, let me first, guys, because we're in week 14. And so let me just run down the slate of games. We've done this before, but there's a lot of divisional matchups this week. And think about how many of these aren't going to be watched. So Saints, Giants, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Down.
Of course we'll watch it, but yeah, that's definitely a thumbs down.
Here's one good one, Packers, Lions.
That's a good game.
Yep.
Good one.
I'll be watching
on a Thursday night, which has been said before. We can. It's unusually really good matchup on a Thursday night. Yep.
To kick off the Sunday slate, Jaguars, Titans.
Oh God.
Disgusting.
That actually might be worse than Giants Saints.
Yeah.
Jets, Dolphins.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's awful.
No.
Awful.
You might like this game. I don't like this game at all. Falcons, Vikings.
No. Down.
I think it's kind of gross.
Is that going to be the Kirk Cousins revenge game?
Oh my God.
Absolutely. You know it. It's in Minnesota, so
right?
Cousins going back to Minnesota. I can't believe that's not a primetime game where they didn't.
They're going to hype that one up.
Oh, yeah.
When someone goes into one of these revenge games and they get their ass kicked, no one ever says afterwards, well, that was some shitty revenge by Kirk Cousins. Like, They never call that out after.
No.
The 3-9 Panthers versus the 10-2 Eagles.
That's awful. That's
I think it might be Philly's going to win it, but it might be a little more interesting. Like the Panthers
show a little fight at least.
The Panthers
they're competing,
are fighting,
man.
Yeah, they are. They're
is it a game you're going to watch, though? Really?
No.
God,
only if I see in the third quarter that Carolina's ahead. That's It's the only way I turn that on.
The 3-9 Browns versus the 9-3 Steelers.
No.
No. I mean, unless just to see Jameis Winston just be a fucking goofball, maybe that.
I do find him entertaining at least.
Can we just talk about how here we are again? Pittsburgh has 9 wins right now.
I know.
Yeah.
If you look at their schedule,
they're guaranteed to be over 500 this year, or not a losing season.
Again.
Yep. And if you look at their schedule, they've got 2 gimmies, this being one of them. They're going to get to 11 minimum.
They're in first place by a game and a half. It's a machine.
The 2-10 Raiders versus the 6-6 Buccaneers.
Ugh. Terrible. terrible game.
The John Gruden game.
Now this one, I don't like the game, but at least it's a competitive game. The 7-5 Seahawks versus the 6-6 Cardinals. Can't stand watching the Cardinals play, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Didn't we just say last week that they play every week?
I swear to God. I was thinking that about
Jacksonville.
I was thinking that about Jacksonville, Tennessee. Do those four teams play each other in some combination every week in the NFL?
You know what's hilarious? No, go ahead, Mike.
Seattle's 7-5. They might as well just be 6-6. That would make this game more intriguing because these are two teams that you have. They should be 6-6. You have no idea who they are. Yeah.
I was going to make the joke that game's for first place in that division. Who even realizes that?
The 10-2 Bills versus the 6-6 Rams.
That's not a terrible game.
I could watch that.
Yeah.
I like watching Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about that one, but there's a couple others. But this is not one of them. The 4-8 Bears versus the 5-7 Niners.
No.
Who cares?
Nope.
Now this is one which I don't think there's hype there, but it'll be interesting to see which way the league gives the Chiefs a win this week. So the Chargers, who are 8-4 versus the 11-1 Chiefs.
That's actually not a bad game.
It's not a bad game.
I could see the Chargers picking them off, actually.
Yeah, I'll watch that for the Harbaugh factor because I've loved watching the Chargers play this year, guys. Harbaugh kicks field goals, he punts on fourth down, is so refreshing. Yep. And it's no wonder the dude comes into the NFL with a team that was terrible last year and has already found 8 wins because he's coaching football. He's not coaching Madden.
I know.
I swear to God,
I want to buy into the Clippers, but I just can't. There's something about that team. They seem, I don't even know, they're just invisible in some way. It's like an 8-4 team, but for some reason they're really not. I can't take them seriously. I don't know what it is. Justin Herbert, maybe. I don't know what it is about that team. I just can't see them making a serious run in any way, shape, or form. They'll be in the playoffs, but they're like, they're just, it's a one and done, show up somewhere and lose in the first round. This game, do they have a chance? Yeah, they have a chance. This could be another one of those Chiefs, one score wins. I can see that.
And then the Monday night game, I'm actually in Dallas this week. It's the 4-8 Bengals against the 5-7 Cowboys. And guys, I'll tell you this, listening to local people here in Dallas, they're like, Dallas still has an outside chance of making the playoffs.
Get out of here.
Go for it, Dallas. Go for it.
Come on.
No.
Please make the playoffs. I will watch Dallas in the playoffs. I love that. There's nothing better than that.
We go
it has to be
slate.
Dak, though.
We go through that slate every week, and we come up with 3 games to watch, maybe?
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Yep.
Maybe.
And usually a couple of those 3 are just sort of like a special interest, like a morbid curiosity thing. Mm-hmm. It's not because we're really interested in the game.
Right. You want to watch one player. You don't want to watch the 2 teams.
And we got to give Cardone credit here because he's been calling out Matt Eberflus or whatever he calls him for the last 4 weeks. And finally, because of the debacle on Thanksgiving, the Bears fired him. Guys, they started a play with 34 seconds left and didn't snap the ball until 5 seconds left and threw the ball into the end zone. That's not just Eberflus. That's also on Caleb Williams too. But what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
we've been watching this our whole lives. Have you ever seen as the play's happening? I was watching it live. I'm assuming you guys were too. That was before dinner time and all that. And you're sitting there, and as the clock is rolling, I'm like, okay, well, what are they doing? They're gonna run a play, then the timeout. And as the play kept going, I'm like, they're gonna get tackled in bounds. The fucking game's gonna be over. What are they doing? I just started screaming in my lounge chair, like in the living room, like, what the fuck are they doing? I couldn't.
I was watching that game with my daughter, who doesn't even know what a timeout is, and she goes, "Why are they not calling a timeout?"
I was barking. That would be horrific. Even if you had no timeouts, that would still be bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could have run a play.
The worst thing is they could have spiked it too.
Spiked it. It's on the table.
They had an extra down.
Oh,
And did you see Eberflus's like face? Like he didn't even flinch. Like, we should have called timeout.
Yeah, he goes into his press conference and says, "Yeah, we played that out. I think we played that out correctly.
we handled it. We handled it right.
Did he say that in the press conference?
Yes,
he
No,
did.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yes,
We handled it the right way. We did. These guys, they're unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So then
that's the most inexcusable end to a game I've ever seen in my life. Now that's crazy. And I don't know if it was Novak or Cardone I was talking to before we came on, but I mean, yes, the head coach should be the adult in the room and call the timeout there. You got to know what's going on. But does anybody think that if that were happening to the Giants when Eli Manning was there, that by the time he got under center and there was like already down to 10, 11, 9, that he wouldn't have immediately just turned around and called the timeout himself? Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit on Caleb, and I heard someone brush that off as, oh, he's a rookie. They don't use timeouts and clock management in college or high school.
Right. He's never played the game before.
Yeah, it's just his first time ever playing the game. Like, come on.
I want to make the point again, going back, which is now what, 6 weeks ago, the Hail Mary, when Eberflus started all this, was when he said the 15 yards he gave up to the Redskins before the Hail Mary. Well, those yards didn't matter. By the way, that team has not won a game since. I jokingly said, I hope the Bears don't win a game the rest of the year. Well, they're on their way to doing that. They are
well on the way.
They were a Hail Mary away from going 5-2, and that team has now run off 6 straight losses. That's awesome.
That is great. So great.
So then on Friday, Black Friday, the Black Friday game was the Raiders versus the Chiefs. So at the end there, the Raiders had a chance. I don't know if it was it to tie the game or was it to win the game with a field goal? It was the tie.
They were down 2.
So they were down 2.
Yes,
17-19. Yeah.
It's a win.
And there was a snap that happens, and it hits the quarterback in the chest and falls to the ground. Now, I will tell you this. Whistles blew immediately, and there are at least 2 refs running in with the hands over the head doing the illegal motion. They were doing the circular motion.
Yeah.
So I thought nothing of it. I was actually at a brewery with family, so we didn't hear the sound on the TV. The refs are huddling, and I said to the guy next to me, I said, they're going to find a way to give this to the Chiefs somehow. Mm-hmm. So although the whistles blew immediately, once the ball hit O'Donnell or whoever it was live on the ground, and a Chief landed on it. So when have you ever seen a play like that ruled an illegal shift?
Never.
There's never been first off, if it's an illegal shift, they let the play go. They let the play go
Correct.
Until it's done, and then they blow the whistle. So why would you blow the whistle immediately at the snap if it's an illegal shift?
I'm running from the sideline, doing
making the false start motion.
Yeah. So the center was livid as hell. I thought the center at first had snapped the ball because he saw a Chief offside. I don't know if that's the case or not after watching the replay, but guys, the league is now just blatantly handing the Chiefs wins. Call a 5-yard penalty on the Raiders, make them kick the field goal, and whatever happens, happens. But they handed that game to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
100%.
I like the way that we as a group always look at these things. And you think about it like this. Had O'Connell just fallen on that ball, would that have been a false start or an illegal motion? You tell me.
Great question.
You tell me what that call would have been.
It would have been a false start.
Yeah.
Why have the huddle in the first place? So did one ref come in and go, you know what, guys, that can't be an illegal motion. That has to be an illegal shift. I've never seen that call happen on a play blown dead. No, an illegal shift always the flag is thrown and the illegal shift is called after the play is done. They come back and they go illegal shift offense.
Yep. Yeah. Now I did hear an explanation of that play.
Of course you did, because they probably manufactured one.
Yeah, and I think they did, but I wish I had it in front of me here so I could talk about this more intelligently. But essentially, it came down to them saying because of the circumstances, whatever it was, that a false start in that situation becomes an illegal shift.
I've never heard that in my life.
I never heard that either.
I saw that, and I'm like, I'm coming back to that. I was like working, and I haven't been able to find it yet. But there was some explanation of that like in a certain circumstance, a false start becomes an illegal shift. And I'm like, oh yeah, if it helps the Chiefs, that's the circumstance, right? That they're looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that was insane.
You know what this is highlights though? So the Chiefs are what, 11-1?
11-1.
And there have been four games now that have ended under controversial circumstances that have helped the Chiefs. 4 games.
Yeah.
And in all 4 of those games, guess who benefited?
Mm-hmm.
If you flip a coin 4 times, it doesn't land heads 4 times.
No, right. So, I mean, it's the law of averages, you know. It's like how in elections, when we're still counting votes, somehow the votes are all Democrat. When we're still counting, there is no Republican votes after a certain minute. But it's the same thing here. It's the law of averages. It's, come on, every time it goes for the Chiefs. And that's just the one, Scott, that ended controversially. How many of those other 1-score wins had calls before the end that set the Chiefs up for scores, or for, it took scores off the board, or took interceptions off the board at key points of the game? So this team is fraudulent, and I want to say they're going to be exposed in the playoffs because they're not going to be able to do that to 3 other good teams. But I mean, these things aren't being decided on the field, so it's impossible to say that.
Well, and the Chiefs could also get a game against a team where it's 20 below in Kansas City and they're playing like the Dolphins or something like that. Yeah. Not the Dolphins, but say they're playing the Chargers. Are the Chargers going to win in Kansas City in 20-degree weather?
Yeah.
Even if 2 of those 4 games went the other direction, they're not getting the number 1 seed. The Bills are going to get it. And they just, because the Bills beat them too on top of it. So
Bills have the head-to-head.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Chiefs' remaining schedule here, and they got a couple tough ones in there. At Steelers, at Broncos, which is not that's Broncos are capable of beating them, and they got to play the Texans. The other one's the Browns. So yeah.
Speaking of the Broncos, I Cardone, I thought of you immediately. So one of our friends, Megamind from our fantasy football league, he's in a high dollar fantasy league, and he had the only way he could lose is if the Broncos D scored something like 23 points against him. And so he's watching this game, and it starts off with a pick 6 for the Broncos D. So he's getting a little bit worried. Oh, yeah. But then they give up a bunch of points, and he's still winning by 9 points at the end. And the Broncos they get another pick 6. So it cuts it to it's like a 1.65 point deficit. So the only thing he can't happen on a final drive is 2 sacks or an interception. And an interception happens. So think about a guy sitting there with a lead, and this was to win $1,500, and he ended up with nothing. So from $1,500 to nothing. So this happens, and I was just thinking about, first of all, that, and then looking back at that game as a whole, just Jameis Winston. I mean, think about the schizophrenic game you have where you're throwing touchdown passes, but also throwing 2 pick 6s and incredible interceptions. Like, he threw an interception down at the goal line that you and I couldn't have thrown. It was this guy is polarizing.
That's always been his game too, ever since he's been a pro. It's he makes mistakes and then backs it up with a great play here and there, and you're just like, well, who is this guy? I know who he is. You can't win with him because he makes too many mistakes, no matter how much good he does. But I kind of like him now. I used to hate him, but he's kind of a cool dude now.
I don't know, man. He's too much of a goofball.
He might be a Jet or Giant Bridge quarterback next year, so we might.
That's what they're talking about. I know.
Yeah.
But that story again. I say it every time, and I know I'm just sound like a broken record, but that's why I'm retired from fantasy. Those games right there.
Cardone.
You have a couple of those,
and
it just you can't recover. You don't I still haven't recovered from Sean Alexander in 2006. I haven't.
And then the year I draft Sean Alexander, the guy has no touchdowns.
The whole season.
Yeah. His name came up in a trivia question the other night. We were doing some kind of NFL trivia question, something to do with MVPs and something. Name the last 10, whatever it was. And I heard his name. I'm like, oh God, I can't believe it. That's right. He was an MVP in 2005. I take him with the number 1 pick in 6. I could have had LaDainian Tomlinson. Anyway.
So Mike can attest to this. Mike was there, but the Panthers showed a lot of fight. They came back. They tied a game they had no business tying, and then they promptly lose. But Bryce Young, much to probably the detriment of what we had been saying earlier in the year, he doesn't look great, but he doesn't look terrible. He may be a guy going forward. I'm not sure.
But isn't that kind of like the worst thing that can possibly happen, though?
It probably is.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You'd almost rather him be awful and terrible and the worst player in the league so you can move on. Now you're like got this off season of, do I stick with this guy one more year? I don't know. I wouldn't want that.
They're in the same situation that the Giants were in with Daniel Jones, where he probably would have been long gone without that playoff win.
One playoff win.
Yeah. Yep. But the Bryce Young, I'll tell you, we had said in our live podcast and many times after that we thought this Panther team was one of the worst put together rosters in NFL history. And Novak and I were talking about it before. And I do think that, one of the reasons for saying that was because the guy who touches a ball on every play just flat out sucks. But he hasn't sucked. And that's just all you need in the NFL. The parity is so much you can win games. That watching the Panthers out there competing and watching Bryce Young put the ball where it's supposed to be most of the time, it drove me insane, especially being there live watching the game. I mean, teams can compete in this league. It's okay, even when you're out of it. But he looked good. I couldn't agree more with Scott's assessment. Like, I think he's got a very low ceiling, but he might be playing close to it now. He's doing the right things.
Yeah.
So I know in recent pods we've been going back in time a little bit, especially the last pod when we started talking about a lot of retro stuff. But what does everyone remember about Coming to America? Was it kicking an oblong ball through a giant H? Was it Rocky Marciano kicking Joe Louis's 154-year-old ass? No, it was Soul Glow. It was that greasy residue that just stained chairs across Brooklyn. You don't want to leave that kind of mark. You want to leave the mark of a rugged uncle. You want to use the premier styling butter on the market that wasn't oozing out of your follicles. It will moisturize with Wagyu beef tallow, and it will leave behind a whiff of mango, not a scent of desperation. Don't be Daryl from Coming to America. Be the rugged uncle. So visit ruggeduncle.com and use code AngryFans to get 20% off your order. It's the real deal, not a knockoff like McDowell's.
McDowell's.
So
rugged uncle, American born and bred, sounds American, not imported from Zamunda.
and you just apply it once, right? You don't have to walk around with a bottle all day.
That's right.
Spraying your head.
Keep it on you.
Yeah.
Just let your soul glow.
Coming to America.
I don't know how I got that tie in there, but
that's a good one. That was a good one.
Well done.
That's a great one.
Anytime you bring up Coming to America is a good thing.
Yeah, I did like Rocky Marciano was 157 years old when he fought Joe Louis. Joe Louis is 157 years old.
Yeah, but he kicked Joe Louis's ass. It's crazy to think that was Eddie Murphy underneath there, where he's like,
where
he's like talking about the spoon.
Yeah, that's right.
That movie. That's beautiful. What is that? Velvet?
So I'll start with Novak. Pet peeves.
So my pet peeve is one statement but it's gonna take me a while to get to it because I gotta have a little build up, little story. So Sunday I fly out of Charlotte. I'm going to Kansas City, and I'm flying out at and I hate leaving on Sundays. I just, for whatever reason, I hate it. Flying out at 4:20. I just had watched the Jets lose in ridiculous fashion. I'm in a piss poor mood. I sit down in an aisle seat, and I'm like, the doors are about to close, and I got a seat next to me open, and I'm like, thank God. And then you guys know exactly what happens.
Oh, yes.
I see a 5-alarm talker walking down the aisle, talking to everybody. And I'm like, this guy's going to sit next to me. I know it. He's coming. It's going to happen. Sure enough, this fucker sits right down next to me. And he starts yapping to me. And I'm in a bad mood to begin with. On a Sunday. The Jets just lost. And I'm like, I got to get this guy to stop talking. He's talking about where he's from and where are you from? Asking me all these questions. Stop it. So finally, the flight takes off, and I get the free I buy the Wi-Fi so I can watch the games on YouTube. And so I get the game, and I pull up my YouTube, and it's the one game is available, the Rams and the Saints, and this guy's watching the game with me, and he starts talking to me. You remember Bobby Hebert? I'm like, what? Stop talking.
God.
So I make up a lie, and I'm like, I'm a huge Saints fan. Sorry, I'm going to listen to this game. So now I'm locked in this dumbass game that I have to watch because I paid for it. The guy is watching. I don't want to admit that I hate the Saints. I tell him I'm a Saints fan, so I'm locked in. I can't change it now. And I look over, and Chris Coons, he's my colleague. He's in the aisle next to me. He's watching the Ravens-Eagles for free that I didn't even know I could have watched. But now I can't change the channel, so I got to watch this dumbass game. So I'm stuck with this. And what's the worst part? So now I'm finally getting to my pet peeve. Who's the announcer? Vilma. Jonathan Vilma. So I got it now. I've got to watch this bad game. He's watching the game I want to watch. I got to listen to Jonathan Vilma. He's the worst. And every stupid, most unobservant thing. Oh, Taysom Hill can do it all. He can throw. He can run. He can catch. Really? We didn't know that. And then
you got Del Griffith sitting next to you.
And I got Del Griffiths next to me. Coons is watching the game I don't want to watch. I'm angry. I'm pissed. It's a long flight. So I'm such in a bad mood. And then Vilma, this is the statement that killed me. So Carr throws at the fourth quarter, a 5-yard touchdown to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And Vilma goes, I've been waiting all game long to call his name. What? No, you weren't.
Asshole.
You weren't waiting to call Marquez Valdez-Scantling's game for anything, Vilma. Because you know what? You never said it all game long. Where's Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Why are they not targeting him? Nothing. I never heard his name once, but he catches the touchdown, and Vilma say, I was waiting to call it. He's such a big part of the offense. You know how many targets he's had all year? 17. So now I want to scream so bad and throw my phone. The game is 9-6. So my pet peeve is Vilma. He's the worst of any announcer in the NFL.
You could have gone with the whole airport thing. So I flew to Dallas this week, and I flew out on a Monday morning at 5:35 in the morning. So I had to get up on Monday at 3:30 to get ready to go to the airport. So I get to the airport, and sure enough, I have an aisle seat, but there's a mom and 2 sons in the gathering area before your seating. And of course she's being like, this is my son. We're taking a trip. We're going on. And I'm like, I'm going to be sitting next to these fuckers, aren't I?
I know.
I go to sit down, and I sit down, and I see the 3 coming. And don't the 3 sit in middle seats in 3 different rows, one of them being mine with the Opie son. And the son sat there and just spread his legs from the get-go, and at one point had his head on my shoulder drooling as he's sleeping. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just trying to listen to podcasts. I'm trying to just be ready for the day, and I got this. It's like you said, Novak, the person you see in the terminal who is the biggest troll or whatever you think is going to happen, they sit next to you.
Of course.
Oh, yep. Yeah. It's like a magnet. There's no way to get away from it. Maniacal, as Cardone would say.
Maniacal. It is. So many things are maniacal. It's hard to keep track of them. But George Costanza teaches us how to pronounce Bobby Hebert's name. He explains it to Julie. who ended up taking credit for the big salad later on in that epised. But
right.
you know, if you remember, you know, Costanza's like, it's a fun name to say. Go ahead and say, you know, it's like Herbert, Herbert, a bear, Hevert. It's a fun name to say. Say it. Go ahead. Say it with me. Bobby A. Bear.
A bear. But it's no different than the guy at the bar that talks to you that you just stop talking.
So
brutal.
So I had a pet peeve way back on like Thanksgiving, and honestly I forgot about it before we came on the air. So another one popped up before then that I am like, oh, that works well. And this is this ridiculous notion that you have to change a sport to make it better. So, you know, NASCAR a few years ago went to this sort of playoff system, and it basically has ruined the sport. They've lost viewers by the dozens. Well, if you guys know who Rob Manfred is, he is the commissioner of baseball.
I know where you're going.
And he now has proposed the golden bat rule, which is like you get the golden at bat, where at any time a team can designate, hey, stop the game. I want to put my best player in to have an at bat, and he gets to have an at bat. This is like freaking just playing a video game anymore. It's like
is that for real?
That is
that's for real.
Under consideration. That is, I read that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it it was texted to me, and I said, get the fuck out of here. That's not real. No. Then showed me the clipping of the article. I'm like, oh my God, this is actually being considered for real.
It's being
the
proposed as a rule change. Now, I don't think it'll pass, but
No.
the mere fact that a commissioner of a league is even saying that this is a possibility says to me, get the fuck out of that position. Yeah. We don't need to change the sport to make it more exciting because you want to make it more exciting.
It's unbelievable.
So maybe we don't know enough details yet. So let's say it's a ninth inning and you've got an out and you're at the bottom of your order, like your number 7 hitter is coming up or your 8 hitter.
You could say, wait a minute, golden bat.
Put Soto up.
We want to put Soto up, even though he hit last inning.
Yeah.
What about this scenario? What if? So I was going to use Aaron Judge, right, for the sake of this conversation. Say you're in the middle of the inning and Judge is on deck. Can you just then fucking move like you know what? Just like Judge, you're up at bat right now. Like so, like and Judge just goes to. Then what happens is so Judge hits. Does he keep his same order in the lineup after he makes out? Let's say he pops out or something like that. Does Judge come back up again, back to back, because he was due to hit in that spot?
Yeah. Well, what if they bring him up and he hits a double? Does he get like a ghosty? Do you get a ghosty on second if he comes back?
Like in wiffle ball when we were kids.
Yeah. Ghost runner.
Yeah.
You know what's great though? There is some strategy here. Let's say you're the a team and you declare, I'm going to have my player get up here, and he comes up in a big spot, and the opposing coach says, all right, intentionally walk him.
Yeah.
Like it's the most, first off, it's the most ridiculous idea possible. It really is. Because we're throwing darts at this and blowing it up already. We could come up with like 20 more minutes of darts to throw at it and say, what the fuck is going on?
I still stuck on the ghost runner. Like a guy's on second, all of a sudden, like he's like ghost runners. He's stealing third. Like, and then what? You go to the video replay to see if a fucking ghost like got in under the tag or something. Like what? Do you simulate a guy? Do you computerize AI a runner? Like judge him, like, and then based on where the throw was and where he would have slid. Are we now going to do that for a guy stealing a base as a ghost?
Could you intentionally walk Judge twice in a row? Right, a runner on second. We'll walk this one. We'll walk the second Judge up next too.
Judge is on first and second at the same time.
Does he get credit for those
Judge
total
on second?
Yeah.
And Judge
does he get credit for like his slugging percentage, total bases, all his? He gets credit for all those numbers. You know, all the stats that they keep in baseball.
All the great hitters in Major League Baseball essentially get an extra at bat a game. So that won't do anything with records or anything like that. I'm sure that would be fine. So stupid.
If you're like the Royals that don't have a superstar, yeah.
Can they bring Judge in? Golden Bat. We want Juan Soto. We want Judge.
It's just, I can't believe that this was even under consideration in 2024.
Every sport, they've lost their minds. Everybody's lost their minds.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Except hockey, maybe.
Yeah, that's still hanging on, but yeah.
Mikey, pet peeve?
Yeah, I got a pet peeve. This is a 180-degree turn for me from a couple of years ago, but it's been happening slowly, and it hit its head over Thanksgiving weekend. And I think at least one or two of you like this guy. Guys, Gus Johnson has got to go.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like Gus Johnson. Never
I don't
have.
either. It's too
Okay,
much.
good. I thought someone here was a big fan, but
No.
so this guy, I don't know if you watch Michigan.
I'm kind of
Ohio
like
State.
Gus Johnson. Yeah. I was staying silent. I'm like, yeah, it was me.
But this guy, his over the top, it's just he's a caricature of himself. Like when he started doing it, it was kind of different, new, and funny. But now you can tell he's doing it for that attention, not just organically. That's you could have your own opinion on that part of it. But so he did the Michigan-Ohio State game. I don't know if you guys watched that, but absolutely saved my
Michigan.
football.
Yeah.
Props up to Syracuse. Both of those teams came up big. Michigan, I thought they threw it away when they literally almost threw it away. They came back and
Yep. Yeah, so literally, I was talking about that with Novak before we came on too. It's like that absolutely saved my entire football season. Michigan doesn't win that game, and I just go, yeah, I expected them to lose, and I'm so immune to losing now. I don't know what I would have done, but they didn't. And as Novak said, which I hadn't thought about it this way, but it's a great way to put it. I would rather be 7-5 and beat Ohio State and go to some bowl game than be 9-3, miss the playoffs, and lose to Ohio State. There's no doubt. It's not even close. The decision is easy. Yep. So that one, I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. Anyway, getting back to the pet peeve. So all week, ESPN is hyping up this game, ABC, whoever, CBS, whoever, they're all talking about it. And what do they say all week, right? These teams hate each other. This is really not like other rivalries. They despise each other. They disrespect each other. The hate is real. They hate each other's families. It breaks up relationships, right? So this game goes down, and Ohio State, frankly, gets embarrassed because they lost to a 7-5 Michigan team who doesn't have a quarterback, and they should be embarrassed. But so after the game, to absolutely no one's surprise, there's a scuffle at midfield. Well, you would have thought Gus Johnson was watching 9/11 live. The way he reported on this thing. I was outside of my mind. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? Of course this is going to happen. Michigan just threw a grenade in this team's season and then took their flag out to midfield. Come on. What are we expecting to happen in this game? It's what you guys have been telling us is going to happen all week. And it's that footage. You will use it all year up until the game next year to pump up the next game next year. It's hypocritical. It's ridiculous. And Gus Johnson is so in the tank for Ohio State that, so here's Michigan, huge moment in the program's history, right? You would think we kind of had all the huge moments, but gigantic moment. Sharon Moore is over there kind of waving to the fans who've been, by the way, just berating him the entire game. And Gus Johnson says, there's Sharon Moore talking to the crowd, telling them we didn't cheat this time. I'm like, are you shitting me that you're going to use that in this moment?
He did.
I am done with this guy. I am absolutely done with this guy. He was calling a great moment and a great rivalry, and he chose to act like, like I said, he was watching 9/11 unfold, and it was just the most horrific scene he's ever seen. It's so out of control. It's so hypocritical. If Ohio State beats Michigan in Michigan, I expect them to take the flag to the middle of the field, and I expect us to fight for our home field. I absolutely is going to happen. Our players are down there getting pepper sprayed.
Can I point out something that the public didn't see? So one thing the public didn't see is when the Ohio State band was playing earlier in the game, they took the Michigan logo and they overplaced it with a poop logo. It was basically that
actually didn't happen this game, but that's happened in the past. That wasn't this game.
Oh, it wasn't this game. All right.
No.
Yeah. So
know how the band
talking about
do
disrespect though. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
You know how the band can like form an animal and make it walk, or So they did. They had a bear. They had a bear walking across the field. He got up on his hind legs and he shit on the Michigan logo. And I had the same reaction. I'm like, that's
pretty awesome.
Really disrespectful. But that's what this whole rivalry is about. To pretend it's not is crazy. And Gus Johnson's reaction, like he was watching an act of terrorism unfold, was just so fake. It's just, he couldn't contain his upsetness, his depression that Ohio State had just lost that game. It was so clear. The only thing I can recall on TV where a announcer let it slip how much he was in the bag was when the Giants intercepted that pass in the end zone against Dallas in 2007, and Troy Aikman said, he's really quiet, and he said it in the most scary voice I've ever heard. He said, "There's a lot of people in the the state of Texas who are disgusted right now." And you could tell when he said it, you're like, you're one of them. Yes. You're one of them.
No
you're
question,
one of those people. That was the only other time I could think of something just that blatant. Yeah.
I've never been uncalled for. Stupid Gus Johnson fan, but I will be disgusted if Kevin Harlan turns into a turncoat at some point. I love Kevin Harlan.
Yeah, Harlan's the best.
He is good.
And it's not even close in my opinion. I think Harlan's the best. Yeah.
So
good stuff.
Even to start the game, Gus Johnson was like, and here come the Michigan Wolverines out of the tunnel, and here comes the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm like, all right, we're starting already. All right, sorry.
Gus probably went to Syracuse too.
He went to Harvard.
Yeah. So, Cardone, pet peeve?
Yeah, I'll keep mine short because it's if you guys recall about, I want to say it could be like 6 weeks ago, earlier this year, might have been my pet peeve, but I was barking about how 60-yard field goals became chip shots overnight in this league. And, I think I recall Al Michaels just like, whoa, when Aubrey missed like a 52-yarder against the Giants to take a 2-score lead or something like that earlier in the year. And I was barking and complaining about how these field goal kickers, all of them are automatic now. And it's just, it's quite frankly pissing me off. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but around the league, something happened in the last 2 weeks. Maybe the calendar turned November, the wind cranked up a little bit, but all these kickers now are absolute mental cases. Guys are missing kicks left and right. Yeah. And my pet peeve doesn't matter which game it was. I think it was the Carolina game. Panera, whatever. Missed.
Who, by the way, had the best. He had the best percentage after Tucker had given it up since he had missed.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, Tucker missed a couple, against the Eagles. Wonder who we're rooting for there. And, Tucker's a mental case now, missing field goals left and right. Also missed an extra point. But Panera missed a couple short field goals. And as I was watching one of the replays, my pet peeve was, and this drives me crazy because every announcer goes right into this. They fall right into this trap. The snap was just slightly, the holder had to move his hands maybe 2 inches to the right. The ball gets down plenty of time, and this chop immediately says, "Oh yeah, the high snap. It messes up the timing. The kicker, and Panera just missed. Duck snorts one to the left." And I'm saying to myself, don't do it. Don't say it. Stop blaming. I can't stand when they blame the snap when the fucking ball. When you watch the replay, the ball's there. The guy just missed the kick. I can't stand when they blame the snap. I was joking around before we came on. It's like a tee shot where the fucking ball's just sitting there, and I just snap hook one into the woods. The ball's there. It didn't have anything to do with the wind or someone talking in my backswing. It didn't. Same thing in field with these guys with these place kickers. They're mental cases. These guys. As soon as they miss a couple kicks, stop blaming. Stop trotting out the idea that a bad high snap messes up the timing of the kick. When the guy swings his foot and the ball is sitting there, what difference does it make how the ball got there? It's exactly where it needs to be when a professional field goal kicker is trying to attempt to kick this oblong ball through a big H. Like what's what's his name? Akeem described to McDowell. Which, by the way, that was the Giant Packer game. If you remember that, you brought up the it was the Giants beating the Packers. That was our only Monday night win, and it was a fictitious. That was like our last Monday night win, I think, and that came in the 80s. It came on a fictitious Coming to America movie. We haven't won on Monday night since.
If we were Philadelphia, we'd build a monument to it.
Yeah. But I'm telling you guys, the next time you see a missed field goal, wait for the announcer to blame the high snap or the low snap, whatever it is, when the ball is absolutely sitting where it needs to be when this guy kicks the ball. Drives me crazy.
By the way, this isn't one of my pet peeves, but the angle that they show the field goal kick always gets me. So if you guys watch the Patriots at the end of the game, they tried a 68 or 69 yard.
Saw it.
And that kick's on the way, and it looks dead straight down the middle. You're like, oh yeah, he made it, and then it bounces beforehand. They're like this before, but when it's on its way, it looks like it's damn good.
Oh yeah,
and you're right, Cardone. They're not just missing like 55 yarders; they're missing like 28 yarders now.
All of a sudden,
extra points are
every game
being missed. Yeah. There's one in every game now.
I don't know how that happened. It just did. I mean, you see it a lot in college because of the ridiculous hash marks. They're kicking outside the post. But the NFL, all of a sudden, like and 2 months ago, these guys couldn't even come close to missing. And now an extra point and 30 yarders, you're biting your nails. It's crazy.
These kickers after every game, they go and find each other, and they they're not bro hugging like the defensive linemen, right? The kickers find each other. They're probably like, are you feeling the same thing I am? Because I'm really struggling right now.
Kickers and punters go together after the game. Yeah.
So we have several questions tonight, and Peacock's gotten in the action. Non-football question was sort of a football question, but non-football. Best sports movie of all time, he's asking. So I'll kick this over to Novak first. Best sports movie of all time.
For me personally, I don't think there's a close second. Is Remember the Titans is my favorite my favorite sports movie of all time. Now I love Rudy too, but Remember the Titans I think is the best. It's one of those movies that when it's on I can't turn it off. I have to watch it. So I'm going Remember the Titans.
Hey, Cardone.
Does Field of Dreams count?
Yes. Field of Dreams is a sports movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got everything, man. It's got the it's emotional. It's got that movie just has everything. That's one of those where I can watch it at any moment. Every scene is memorable. It's that movie to me has got everything, and it's timeless. I love Kevin Costner in it. That's one of my favorite all time.
Mikey.
Yeah, the first movie name that popped into my head. There's several good ones. There's one we talked about a couple weeks ago that I absolutely love, but Hoosiers is the first one that popped into my head. I'm the same way with Novak. If that's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, I love Hoosiers. You got to run the picket fence.
So honorable mention to Gus the field goal kicking mule as well, which is one of my other all-time favorite movies.
So I always was partial to hockey movies. So by the way, Peacock did say if we didn't say Rudy, it was the wrong answer. I was not always a Rudy fan, but I mentioned it. This. Yeah, you did mention it. I like Slapshot and I like Youngblood. I just like hockey movies.
Those are good too. Yeah, hockey movies.
Two good movies.
Yeah.
You know.
I give a thumbs up to those.
I really used to like Rudy, but I've heard so much since like in the last 5 years about how that movie was complete bullshit. That it's really gone down a couple of notches for me.
I was going to mention, Caddyshack, if you want to count that.
Yeah.
What about The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh? That was a great one.
The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. That's a great movie.
Julius Erving was in that. I love the court in A Fish That Saved Pittsburgh too.
Yep.
So the Jets' next head coach, we can only pick one. Is it Mangini, Rex, or Belichick?
Oh. Well, is it who I would want of those three, or who do I think has the best chance of getting the job?
Well, I don't know if it's the best. I think it's who you'd want.
I mean, I would want Belichick, but there's no way in hell he would take this. I mean, he would laugh at that job. He makes fun of Woody Johnson every chance he gets. Mangini has not been around. I would take Rex Ryan. I mean, I haven't had a winning season since 2015, not been in the playoffs since 2010, so I'm going to go with Rex Ryan. As sad as that is.
I'll be honest with you. I'd go with Rex Ryan, too. That was going to be my choice, because Rex is probably the most logical choice.
You would love it because of the feet jokes. Stop it.
Rex still got some fervor, man. He's still bringing fervor on Get Up on ESPN in the morning and Get Up.
Crazy-ass white teeth he's got now.
Honestly,
yeah, exactly.
I will say this. As much as you guys rag on, like Gus Johnson and stuff like that, Rex Ryan is actually a decent personality to listen to.
He is.
He's very truthful. He's personable.
Yep. Yeah. Doesn't hold back. I do like him in that role.
Wait, brighter teeth, Rex Ryan or Ross Geller in the Blacklight episode?
Ross Geller.
What's the best?
Rex, Rex was his time was up when he left. That couldn't go on anymore there. But the Jets are back in a position like they were before he got there before. So maybe that makes sense.
Gosh, who knows? Who cares?
Yeah. So my friend Mike Harrison, he asks, can the Giants win another game if they try? Forget about the tank, but if they are going to try to win a game, can they? I don't think they can. I think their best chance is New Orleans.
I'm going to say just a flat out no. They're just they could try all they want. They're not good. They're just not good to anybody. They are exceptionally the worst team in the league. They are.
They are.
So they're not going to be. They're not favored against anybody. So not that matters. No, my short snap answer, flat out no. If they tried, they can't.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine without Dexter in there and teams just running against us. And I say that, and you look around the league and teams you would give no chance, at least give other teams a fight. But the question is well worded if they tried, because they don't appear to be trying. But I mean, if they tried, if they found some fight, sure. New Orleans stinks. The Colts stink. But we probably won't.
Can I give you a potential scenario?
Yeah.
So
yep.
I believe they play the Eagles week 17. Am I correct?
Yes.
They do.
Barkley's going to break the single season rushing record in that game. They're going to pull their starters, and the Giants will end up winning that game, having dropped from the number 1 pick to the number 5 pick because of Tommy DeVito throwing 3 touchdowns.
Oh my God!
Stop it! Stop!
We got that. Do we have that on tape?
Does that go under the
nightmare
predictions banner?
Sure.
So Mike also asks who the replacements would be for Dable and Shane if they're gone. I honestly don't know this answer. I like Brandon Brown, who's the assistant GM for the Giants, but he's tied to the organization, and the organization is tough. So in terms of a coach and a GM, I don't know. If I'm looking at a coach that I think I would want as a Giants next coach, it's probably Mike Vrabel. And it could be just because he's a name, but I like the persona Mike Vrabel gives.
Yeah. Vrabel seems somewhat attractive as a coach. Sean Clark's available from Appalachia State. Thank God they fired him.
They fired him. They fired their coach?
Yeah. Finally got fired. I have a list of like 7 guys that need to get fired. That's like one bum down, like 6 more to go.
Finally got rid of him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Rabel or Mangini.
For those App State fans out there listening.
And then we have a non-football question. So what's the best superpower to have? Is it flight, X-ray vision, or mind reading? For me, just because I think it would be cool for me more than anything else, I'd love flight.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'd love to like take off like Superman. I don't know if you could actually do that where you just like and you fly off the ground and then you're up in the air. If it's not like that, then I'm taking something different. But if it's like that, I'm taking flight.
Yeah, it's got to be flight. And I would pretend to be a badass. Like I would dress like General Zod and just like I'd be a good guy, but I would look like just like menacing. You know, like holy shit, is this guy from? You know, like I pretend I'm from a different planet, act all badass. I'd go with Zod.
I want to know if you have to be all serpentine for that, or do you just like you're standing in the middle of a crowd, all of a sudden you go and you fly upward. You know?
It's this question is so in my wheelhouse. I can't even tell you the number of times I put serious thought into this since I was like 10 years old. I am so prepared for this question. Out of those 3, it would have to be flight. I think mind reading would be terrible. You know, you don't want to hear what everyone's thinking all the time. My God, you would lose all faith in humanity, I believe. X-ray vision, I was going to say that's just sort of a perverted thing to want. That's like when I was 10, I was like, X-ray vision would be pretty cool. But so out of those 3, I would say flight. But now I'm going to contradict myself a little bit because I've really thought about this. To me, the best superpower would be invisibility. Now that does have a pervert aspect to it as well. But that's not the reason I think it's great. The idea of like just beating up someone who doesn't even know you're there just sounds awesome.
Beating up somebody. That's awesome.
Novak.
Oh, flight. I mean, I said it before, but
flight,
yeah, I'm going with flight. I don't think it's close for me. I agree that I don't see the value in the X-ray stuff and reading people's minds. Like, I don't know what. I don't want to know what people think. Who the hell cares? Like, right? Although I wouldn't mind it. Like the guy at the bar that comes up to talk to us, like what he's thinking. Like these guys seem cool. Like I want to talk to them.
There are a lot of times when you think about it where we're like, what is he thinking? It would be cool to just actually know.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I'd like to get into Eberflus's mind. Right?
I was just going to say, Eberflus, that wouldn't be, that's one scenario I wouldn't mind knowing ahead of time.
The worst part about Eberflus is just when they pan to him when it's happening in real time, and he's like just staring into space, like not like hey, like he's not going nuts, like call a timeout or anything. Like he's just standing there.
What are you doing?
He's like, yeah.
It's like hands in his pockets, just chilling out.
He pulled a putty on a cross-Atlantic flight. just
it's just there at the seat the whole time.
Just staring straight ahead.
That's a great call though, Cardone, because you couldn't just like have on a baseball hat and a sweatshirt and be flying around. Like you'd have to have some kind of.
No, you gotta look like Zod.
Yeah, Zod's a good call.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else tonight?
Not really.
All right, so I think next week we'll be back, probably rehashing the same shit. We're probably talking about the same 2 losses. We're probably talking about around the league where the Chiefs are getting favored with some call. You know, God knows what we're talking about here. But guys, stick with us because it's not just Giants and Jets oriented. It's all NFL oriented in terms of what this league has gotten to, where we're going.
And please bring more of the non-football questions. These are great.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, this has been enjoyable.
We might have a whole, like 2 weeks from now, just a whole non-football episode.
It's possible.
We don't even talk about the Giants and the Jets or any. Just don't talk about the NFL at all.
That.
So check us out next week. We are the 3 Giant fans. Your host Scott, Giant Mike, Cardone, and Angry Jets fan Novak, and we'll see you guys later.
All right.
Adios, everybody.
All right.